So metamorphosis is this process of transformation and growth, and it is undergone by insects, right? And so here in Cannabis Genome DAO, we act as stewards for cannabis data and cannabis, the plant itself, and the information surrounding that plant that is useful to producing it. And so in this journey of protecting these plants, essentially the analogy is that we're kind of like, in the best possible way, insects who are sort of maintaining the garden, right, of cannabis data and information and open source knowledge, and driving that forward, right? And so we are part of that ecosystem, and we're the living part of it, right? And so basically, if we break that down, there are different stages of metamorphosis, going from hatchling to nymph through the instar stages, which are like pupa or molting stages, um, and the growth, the growth essentially, and then ultimately, then there's this is a bit of a bastardization, frankly, of different types of actual metamorphosis of hemimetabolous and holometabolous metamorphosis for any biologists who are watching or listening to this or come across this later. But well aware. But it's fun, and I think makes sense for what we're trying to do here in this community in terms of building a more even though this is sort of a linear structure, we're trying to build somewhat of a non-hierarchical, permissionless, uh, at least more distributed and decentralized organization that does have large, strong, nonlinear components. And so, along this direct linear trajectory from hatchling all the way up to the final mature stage of Imago, there are additional ways that the tree branches out essentially. Right, the path of abilities and things that can be done in life, right, in the journey through the Cannabis Genome DAO expand as the main trajectory is progressed along. So starting from a hatchling just joining, it's very easy to move along through the nymph stage, which is when you can really start moving around. And you just go through the simple getting started steps, read through those couple of channels, and just click through the emojis, and you can within 10 minutes achieve the nymph stage, where you can then access most of the Discord channels, and you can participate in guilds, you can participate in Coordinape rounds, and DeWork bounties, and get CRED, which is our part of a reputation management system. So that builds into then the Instar stages, which is when you become essentially like a full member, where you can access all of the main Discord channels. There are a few other hidden ones, and that just basically, Nymph is very easy to achieve, but once you've then participated and applied for full membership, you can then advance to the Instar stage. And so that requires, more of an active participation, but is still very, very, very easy to achieve full membership. And there's really no restrictions on that. Second Instar is, again, just there's a few more requirements, but in terms of participating in guilds or Coordinape or DeWork and CRED. So those other things that you gained access to earlier, as you do that, then you can move up and you can become a Community Steward, which would be then a additional Coordinape circle that is available to you, or a role that you can participate in, and then help other people to move along their own journey and to grow the community. And then finally, the third Instar is the last stage of regular full membership, and where you can then become a peer reviewer and a developer. So a third Instar is somebody who has been in the DAO and has demonstrated, really strong contributions over a continued period of time, and reliability, and has built up a reputation in CRED and DeWork bounties and Coordinape circle participation and guild participation, so that then they can be nominated to achieve third Instar. So that I think we should, basically have some sort of nomination process built into this as a way for us to recognize each other in the DAO and the community, and to have sort of a check, in the sense that if we want people to be involved, then and this to be some sort of measure of that, then there should be some sort of essentially like a referral, some sort of built into this system, but sort of like a not a professional referral, but like recommendation built in to become this third Instar, where then you can previous roles that have been proposed in the DAO are peer reviewer and developer, right? So to peer review data sets on Canada Market, and working to build a sort of a blue check mark system where we could have peer reviewed and essentially verified data sets that meet a certain criteria of standards and have gone through a certain review process from again members of the DAO who have been contributors, substantial contributors over a significant period of time. And then finally, the last stage, so moving through Chrysalis, it's sort of just a waiting period for Imago, which is then you get access to and apply for the Treasury Council and seed bank steward roles, which are going to be the most sensitive to the operational side of the DAO and the community integrity. So ultimately, that requires having built the strongest reputation to achieve that. And so, in order to manage funds for the larger community as a whole, you have to have demonstrated a very strong commitment to the community, and have been sort of referred and approved by other community members to achieve that role. And same thing with the seed bank steward. So as data sets are listed on the marketplace, we have been working to sort of get this structure in place so that we can have people with strong reputation credentials that would be uh, eligible to represent the DAO and in a physical way in real life, right? To actually then for data sets that are listed on the marketplace to then potentially have a decentralized seed bank where we have stewards around the world to who have earned this reputation in the DAO in the community to then actually have seeds or other material that could then be listed on the marketplace online, but actually stewarded and held and managed and transferred in real life. So doing things like burning NFTs to claim something or whatever. There's all this cool stuff we could do on chain, but then represent things in real life. And I think we need to build. We have to have a community that has some level of trust and reputation. But again, in the spirit of decentralization and automation, uh, this I think aligns very well with that. And so as you progress down the linear path, additional things open up, and it becomes more and more nonlinear, and roles can be you can move through and transition to these other nonlinear roles in different guilds or activities throughout the DAO as you become more and more involved or gain your reputation from participating.